to filter through this land of ours and fill a sportsman's dreams. Enjoy what nature holds for us, her bounty never ends. Getting back to basics with the practical sportsman. It's always an adventure, no matter where we go. From a favorite hunting spot to the hottest fishing hole. Outdoor life we all can share with family and friends. We'll do it all together with a practical sportsman. We'll do it all together with a practical sportsman.
Hi there, come on in. It is Thursday night, February 20th, the year 2003. You know, last week, Zachary, we finished a series on trapping in the fur industry with young Jim Lee, who is learning the ways of the wild through trapping.
And this week we're continuing that theme by starting a series on predators and how their population has boomed over the years and the negative impact they've had on game birds and animals, and particularly waterfowl.
We guarantee an interesting show, so you stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost.
And I'm Zachary Trost, and you're watching a show for the practical sportsman. On page 29 of the Michigan Outdoor News, there was an interesting photo of Irvin Tim from Heron, who bagged a blue goose on the last day of October in Alpena County. It was Irvin's first blue goose in 40 years of hunting. Blue geese and snow geese migrate over Michigan by flying very high most of the time, and hunters don't see very many that come into range. Looking beyond Michigan for news notes, Dateline Austin, Texas. Increasing reports of coyotes attacking pets on the fringes of Austin have caused officials to consider shooting or trapping and killing these bold predators. While a coyote attack on a human has never been reported in Texas, it has happened in California, and officials are concerned about small children who play outdoors in these high coyote areas. In Dateline Sacramento, California, northern pike appeared in Lake Davis in 1994, and state biologists feared that the pike would wipe out the state's salmon population if they escaped downstream from the Sierra Nevada lake. In 1997, the California DNR spent $2 million to partially drain and poison the lake, but the pike survived. Local residents complained about the effects of the poison, and the state had to pay an additional $9.2 million to the nearby landowners. Since then, the DNR has shocked, netted, hooked, and even blew up the water with detonation cord, but the pike are still there, living, growing, and breeding. And speaking of efforts to eradicate, Dateline Denver, Colorado, after a quarter of a century of finding CWD in Colorado deer without an epidemic, the numbers went up this past deer season. 25,000 deer were tested, 233 cases were found, and that's less than 1%. Compare this to Wisconsin, where 50 deer, which is over 2% of the deer analyzed from the fall hunt, tested positive for CWD in Wisconsin's 411 square mile CWD eradication zone. Well, this, along with other news and information for Michigan sportsmen, can be found every other week in the Michigan Outdoor News, which is available on the newsstand or by subscription.
This week, I'm starting a series on recreational trespass. That's a type of trespassing that causes a lot of problems in Michigan. But exactly what is it? Well, the term was defined by the legislature in the 1994 Recreational Tresspass Act. It's in the Michigan compiled laws, which reads, in part, a person shall not enter or remain on the property of another person to engage in any recreational activity or trapping on that property without the consent of the landowner. Well, that's part of what the law says, but the term any recreational activity isn't defined specifically. But why is trapping identified by itself? Well, it must be that the legislature regarded trapping as sort of a pseudo-recreational activity, something that trappers might enjoy, but realistically, most trappers do it for the money. But trapping is included along with any recreational activity. Of course, that would be like hunting or fishing or snowmobiling or hiking or photography. These kinds of activities are ones that a person must have permission to do on someone else's property, or else that person is violating the Recreational Trespass Act. Now, you can interpret that rather broadly, because if the legislature wanted to restrict the recreational trespass, say, to hunting or riding ORVs, they would have said so. But this law relates to any recreational activity. Next week, let's look at the words enter or remain on the property. Why the two words? I mean, you'd have to enter in order to remain, right? Well, we'll talk about that next week.
I'm going to give you a few hints on our featured county in this week's Fish and Game Hall of Fame. The county seat is the third largest city in Michigan. This city began in 1819 when Jacob Smith and his Chippewa Indian Next Fish and Game Hall of Fame will be featuring Cass County.
Hockey?
No.
You must be a lover.
No.
But you do fish.
Yes.
And what did you catch?
A rock bass.
Not any rock bass. This thing is 11 inches, 1 pound, 2 ounces. Oh, you got it through the ice.
Uh-huh.
What lake was that?
Springwood.
Up in Clare?
Yes.
That is pretty cool. That, why did you get it mounted?
Well, I had a gift certificate from my dad for my birthday, and I decided to use it.
That's neat. Did you cut a deal with the taxidermist?
No.
Oh, so it was a pretty good sized gift certificate.
Yeah.
Oh, that is tasty. Where do you hang it?
In front of my bed.
That's neat. So you can look at that every day. So what's your dad up here for?
I don't know.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, because you're the star, Jason. Congratulations on that big fish.
Very rarely on this program do I run material that was produced somewhere else, or provided by some other organization. But every now and then I come across something that is just too good to pass up. And while, wildlife diseases are causing the big ruckus nowadays among some sportsmen, I think a much bigger problem is the ballooning impact of predators on our game populations. Now, an organization called Delta Waterfowl has felt the same way. They pioneered some revolutionary research on the effects of foxes and raccoons and skunks. Their message runs counter to what you've been hearing about predators over the years, but it's time sportsmen face the music, because predators have been given far too much protection in our so-called balance of nature. Now, this is installment number 1, the introduction to Delta Waterfowl's documentary on predators.
Ducks are the most intensively managed wildlife on the continent. Over the last 60 years, government agencies and private conservation organizations have spent $1.2 billion on waterfowl habitat projects. But is habitat alone the key to maintaining healthy duck populations? Or have the problems associated with duck production become too complex to be addressed by a single method management approach? A growing number of scientists believe the impact of predators is so great, it actually offsets the benefits of habitat management. They say predator numbers are out of balance, that a changing mix and density of predators is inhibiting the duck population's ability to expand. Exactly what is the impact of predators on nesting ducks? Can anything be done to offset that impact? Should anything be done? This film examines the life and death struggle that occurs on the prairie breeding grounds each spring, and the efforts of one organization to protect nesting ducks from the ravages of predation.
And their numbers kept in check just like any other animal population. The entire one-hour documentary by Delta Waterfowl is available at a minimal cost. Information is available on our website. Now we're going to run the second installment on predator management in 2 weeks. Another reminder, of course, if you're going to go ice fishing, I think people should get on with it because winter is wrapping up. That ice can start going as fast as it forms.
That's what they're saying. It's still awfully cold out there, but
But get outdoors if you can this weekend. It's a great place to be.
we'll see you next week.